Coming up on the Lakers Report, LeBron James and Isaiah Stewart have been given their suspensions for that scuffle on Sunday in Detroit. Also, we have a health update on Austin Reaves. Could he be rejoining the Lakers soon as a big part of this Lakers rotation? Trevor Ariza, on the other hand, nice little signing in NBA free agency, still not close. Before we get into all of that, though, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're less than 900 people away from 40,000 subscribers here on the Lakers Report. So if you want more Lakers news and rumors videos like this, hit that red subscribe button down below. And let's ride. Welcome into the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. I hope all of your weeks are off to a fantastic start. The same cannot be said for LeBron James, because after that scuffle with Isaiah Stewart of the Detroit Pistons on Sunday, he's going to be missing Tuesday's game at Madison Square Garden against the New York Knicks. That is the official suspension handed down and levied down upon LeBron James by Adam Silver and the league. Going to be suspended for that one game after that altercation with Isaiah Stewart. A little bit of a scuffle after that free throw attempt where he hit him across the face. It drew some blood, and Isaiah Stewart was really fired up. I thought for a moment we were going to see a Malice at the Palace 2.0. LeBron not going to be with the Lakers against the Knicks, which is really unfortunate for some fans who had looked ahead to seeing LeBron come to the Mecca of New York City to partake in that game in the purple and gold in the best arena in all of sports. Unfortunately for those fans who bought those tickets, LBJ not going to be suiting up for that one. As for Isaiah Stewart, yeah, he couldn't really control himself for a little while, but how would you feel if you had all this blood going down your face and you got smacked across the head? I'd be pretty heated too. He is going to be suspended for 2 games. Shams Charania of the Athletic and Stadium breaking this news a little bit later on Monday, saying this: Stewart's suspension was for, quote, escalating an on-court altercation by repeatedly and aggressively pursuing James in an unsportsmanlike manner. James serves a suspension on Tuesday for, quote, recklessly hitting Stewart in the face and initiating an on-court altercation. I gotta be honest, I thought LeBron kind of knew what he was doing, and he didn't seem as though he was happy with kind of going back and forth, trading body blows with Isaiah Stewart. But it's going to be a 1-game suspension for LeBron, a 2-game suspension for Isaiah Stewart. And after the game, I thought it was really funny because the Lakers as a team able to rally, coming back from 15 points going into that fourth quarter to come through with a win. And there's all this talk about that moment being galvanizing for this team and changing the course of the Los Angeles Lakers season, which I actually find to be somewhat hilarious because the Detroit Pistons, they might have the number 1 pick in Cade Cunningham and a couple of other decent pieces on that roster, but at the end of the day, it is the Detroit Pistons, and we're thinking that a beef between LeBron James and Isaiah Stewart is going to completely change what has been a very frustrating Lakers season up to this point. I'm not buying that, but that's what head coach Frank Vogel had said about the scuffle. Quote, to me, it's one of those things that can change the momentum of your year. To see guys rally around a teammate that got ejected like that, they played with incredible guts, started in the third quarter when we were down by 15, and in that situation, that's the determination this team's going to need. Okay, Frank, you try to use it as a rallying cry for your team. To be honest, the Lakers just haven't really been a good team in the early portion of this year. Can this be galvanizing? I guess to a certain degree, because it's bringing the team together after they've dealt with a very frustrating start to the year. But once again, it's the Detroit Pistons. I expect them to be selecting top 3 in the NBA draft in 2022. They're not a good basketball team. The defense for Los Angeles is still somewhat suspect. I still think the Lakers are slow, which is partially because of their age. And outside of LeBron James and Anthony Davis, who are 2 of the top 3 to 5, maybe even 10 players in the league, I'm not sure about this roster. Russell Westbrook continues to play a reckless style of basketball, and he was great against the Pistons, but I never know how he's going to follow up with that performance, especially when he tells the media, I think when I play aggressive, that's when we're at our best. If you're aggressive, pushing the tempo and dishing the basketball, for sure. If you're chucking up 30-point three-pointers early in the shot clock, then I would say no. What do you think, though? I'm not buying this from Frank Vogel or the rest of the roster because a bunch of these guys are saying, this is going to change the season. Kendrick Perkins on Twitter saying, this is the turning point. Yeah, okay. What do you think, though? Will this change the Lakers season for the better? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Be sure to get those votes in the comment section down below. With Thanksgiving next week, Christmas, Hanukkah, all of the holidays right around the corner, It's time to either treat yourself, treat a friend, or a loved one, and what better way to do that than by copping some fresh Lakers gear. You see this hoodie up on your screen, 40% off, only using that link down below, thanks to our friends at Fanatics, a presenting sponsor for today's show. All you got to do, it's very simple. In your web browser, go to chatsports.com/Lakers hoodie, and automatically by using our link, you get 40% off on that Lakers hoodie. It's Nike, really good material. I kind of like that gray texture and pattern, kind of like the pullover that I'm rocking right now. You want to be like me, rock some fresh gear, you can do so by going to chatsports.com/Lakers hoodie. But a reminder, use that link so that Fanatics knows that Chatsports sent you. Next up on the docket for today's show, Austin Reaves. Is he going to be returning soon from that hamstring injury? According to Frank Vogel, it appears as though Austin Reaves getting closer and closer in his rehab. We'll also share some quotes from what Phil Handy, a very good skills coach and assistant coach with the Lakers, had to say about Reaves becoming a very good player. Let's first get to what Frank Vogel had to say about Reaves coming back from that injury. Austin feels really good. If it was up to him, he'd be back already. Trevor Ariza, on the other hand, still a ways away, so Austin is a lot closer. I have a role carved out for what I envisioned for him. He's a big part of this year's plan. We've been without him. We're making do without him. We're looking forward to getting him back as soon as possible. And I think the Lakers could definitely use Reaves in this rotation. That starting five is pretty solid. I still think that Kent Bazemore should not be in it. Maybe that's something that changes over the next couple of weeks and months. But Austin Reaves, it's funny that Frank Vogel is saying he's going to be a big component of our team, because the Lakers didn't even know he was going to be a part of this team. They didn't take him in the NBA draft. He went undrafted. He was invited to partake in the NBA Summer League in Las Vegas. That's where he played very well, also performed well in training camp as well as the preseason, and then carved out a role because of that play early on in the season, getting more than 21 minutes per game, averaging around 6 points per, shooting around 48% from the floor and 32% from distance. High energy guy, reminds me a little bit of Alex Caruso. He can stretch the floor, also a pretty good athlete as well. Once again, the Lakers can certainly use him. And Phil Handy saying that Austin Reaves has the potential to be a very good player. Now, Phil Handy, an assistant on this staff, the former trainer for Kobe Bryant and a bunch of other marquee players across the NBA, when he says something like this, he really takes a lot of stock in develop some of these players and putting in so much work to his craft to help the players' craft. So actually, I'm buying what he's saying here. Film equals knowledge. He said this on Instagram, by the way, as well as growth. It always shows the good and the bad and the indifferent. Can't run from it. Even when DeAndre Jordan swears he was right and I was wrong, Austin Reaves will be a special player in this league. Day by day, game by game, the Lakers are figuring things out. Phil Handy on Austin Reaves right there. And look, this Lakers lineup, I know I have commended them. I have said that it's pretty deep going into the year. I had said I'm not worried about the age. I think a lot of this comes down to the Lakers' success all hinging on LeBron James. If LeBron is healthy, I think this team is going to be fine. When he's in the starting rotation, the depth gets helped out. And I think because of that, the Lakers will be able to be a solid team over time as long as LeBron is on the floor and healthy. As for Austin Reaves, I do think the Lakers could really use him because they're bereft of those types of players on the roster right now. Floor spacers, high energy guys who can also play a little bit of defense, and he brings that youthful exuberance that the Lakers don't have a lot of outside of guys like Malik Monk, other guys like Talen Horton-Tucker, and I'm still waiting for Kendrick Nunn to come back off of his respective injury as well. So maybe things rounding in the right direction, and maybe it's all because of that altercation between LeBron and Isaiah Stewart. Time will only tell. Before I head out of here, we always appreciate you for making the Lakers Report a part of your day. A big reason why we are closing in on 40,000 subscribers, all because of you. Make sure you hit that red subscribe button down below for more videos like this. And make sure you also give me a follow on Twitter at Chase_Senior. Same handle on Instagram as well. You want to talk shop? You want to talk life? Lakers, NBA, NFL, whatever. Get at me. Thanks for watching today's show.